Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can see, today I'm recording from home, from work. I waited for everybody else to leave because I don't think I'll be able to record this video at home, and because I just have so many things to go and do once I get home. So, like I promised, I will be talking about uh, public hospitals basically, and what you guys can expect, what expecting mothers can actually expect to get from public hospitals. So my experience was not that bad at a public hospital because basically I'm one of those people that can speak for themselves, and I can actually stand up for myself and articulate myself in a proper way that you can actually understand or get across. So what I will be discussing today is my experience with the public hospital in ICU, that is intensive care unit for babies. So, like I said, I had a 3-day labor, 3-day birthing process actually, and um, my baby came in at 4:11 a.m. and he actually weighed quite good for standard baby weight. He was like 3.5 kgs. I don't know what ounces are, that I'll try and probably put in the ounces once I don't know the ounces. I'll just put it in the description box below. He came in at 3.5 kgs, which is a good weight, healthy baby boy, big boned and everything. So unfortunately for me and my situation, I was Rh negative. I don't know if you guys know what Rh negative is, but is when your blood and your baby's blood doesn't go together. For some reason, I think his father is Rh negative, or I'm Rh negative and he's Rh positive, and when those two meet, it creates a disruption in the blood supply in the umbilical cord of the baby, something like that. Because like you give blood to your baby through the umbilical cord, and when the baby gives the blood back to be reoxygenated, my antibodies were fighting his blood supply or something like that. I'll just like put in a little graphic explanation of what being Rh negative implies. So which causes the disease of Gilsig, which we call what in English? I totally forgot. Yes, which we call Gilsig. That's in Afrikaans. It's called Gilsig. Um, I don't know what's it called in Ojiherero, Ongara. We just say Ongara. And then in English, it's called jaundice. 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 So a jaundice baby, there are levels of jaundice in the baby's blood. So this is what. Let me give you a clear definition of what jaundice is. So understanding jaundice. What is jaundice? So this is an yellowing of the baby's skin and eyes. Common occurrence in high levels of, oh Jesus, how do I say this word? Bilirubin, guys. Bilirubin. That's all. You guys should just pick it up from there. Anyway, these levels are different in babies' bloods once they are born. And we were 3 that had babies with jaundice when I gave birth. And then, so I gave birth at 4:11 a.m. and I think my best friend came in at around 10 to 11 visiting hours. 11, she was there. And mind you, I was so exhausted, but I picked up that, oh, child, this baby's yellow bone, extremely yellow bone. And then I just like, maybe the baby's just light. Or I don't know how a baby should look like anyway, because I'm a brand new mother. I wasn't expecting how my baby should look like. And then I was like, but it just, something was not right with the skin. And when he opened his eyes were yellow, like my child was yellow. So my best friend comes in and she's like, I think you should have the pediatrician take a look at the baby before you guys leave, because I was scheduled to leave that day. To leave during the afternoon, because I gave birth early morning, so I was scheduled to leave in the afternoon because I was fine. So no, we're scheduled to leave the next day actually, because we still had to go through the process of me using the restroom and checking if all of my bowel movements are okay. So anyway, she comes in and says, I need you to ask the pediatrician to take a look at the baby. The baby's skin looks a bit yellow. And I was like, I also thought so, because I thought the baby was light, because I'm light skinned, Kuma. Well, that's what people say when they look at me, but I'm just normal complexion. And then they're like, yeah. And then she was like, yeah, let's just ask the doctor to take a look at the baby. And then we visited. She brought me some snacks. She left. The next morning, the pediatrician came in again. That is when I was scheduled to leave. And then she was like checking everything is fine with me and like asking me questions. How's your bowel movements? What? How's your bleeding? Do you feel any weakness? Do you feel any strange pains? I was like, no, actually, I'm totally fine. Apart from the stitches, I'm healing quite well. What I want you to take a look at is my son over here. And she was like, okay. Like he didn't hesitate to take a look at the baby. So he didn't hesitate, because the female doctor took a look at me and she went out, and then the male doctor, who was our pediatrician, came in, and then he was asking me the same questions. But then I was like, we're here for the baby, why are you asking me these questions when this woman already asked me these questions? Anyway, so the male doctor was hesitant, but then he put his gloves on, and then I show him the baby, and he's like, his eyes immediately was like, and then when they say you have intuition that something is wrong and your gut feeling can feel it. When he looked at me once, when he looked at the baby, he paused, and then he looked at me, and then I knew, shit, my baby has jaundice. At that point, I didn't understand what it was, but then I was like, okay, fine. And then he's like, I'm just going to take quick blood samples, going to send them off to the lab. We're going to write them off as urgent. They'll be here in the next 2 hours. In the meantime, I'm going to ask the nurse to take the baby in the incubator, and we're going to put some lights on him. Fine, so we got moved to another nursery. Still in the postnatal ward, we got moved to another nursery. I was in this room in the I was in the postnatal ward room, and the baby's incubator room was like in the next corridor, so you had to go through reception or through the hallway to get to the next to get to where they were holding the babies. Not holding, to where they kept the babies. So the nurse came in, and then she was like, how are you? I'm not fine. So we're just going to take the baby and we're going to put it against lights and whatnot. So in my culture, traditionally, what we do when babies have mild jaundice, when you go home, you just apply a little bit of sunscreen or Vaseline so that the baby skin doesn't dry out, and then you just lay them out in not scorching hot sun, but like early morning rays. That early morning rays of sunlight, when they hit the baby, that usually clears it out. So in my head, I was like, okay, these lights are gonna work like that. Fine. We went over there, and then she was like, yeah, we're gonna put 3 lights on your baby. And mind you, there was one baby that had 1 light, and there was another baby that had two babies that had 1 light, and my baby just comes in And all of a sudden he's having 3 lights, and I was like, God, I thought it was just going to be 1 light. Is it that severe? And she's like, no, we just have to wait for the blood test, but this is what the doctor prescribed. So I'm sitting there in the nursery room, because we all heard of those stories of people coming in and stealing the babies. So I was there all the time, every time. And then the blood tests come back, and then, mind you, this doctor, he was supposed to go off for the day. He comes back in when the blood tests are in, and then he gets called, and then he comes in, and then he's like, we're 3. He's like, one of the babies is going to be moved to ICU. He didn't know that I was sitting inside, like I was sitting right behind him when he was saying this. And then I stood up and came and stood next to where my baby is. So on the incubator, they have the baby's names and the baby's details, weight, class, and gender, and then they have the mother's name. So I came and stood next to the incubator, and he was like, hi, are you mommy? And I'm like, yes. I was like, one of the babies, so he's now talking to all of us. Like, one of the babies today is going to be moved to intensive care unit. So I was like, okay, what does that mean? Mind you, I'm the only one asking this question. All the mothers are just like, and at that point, all the mothers were just hoping please don't let it be my baby. I'm so sorry for the next person, but like, please don't let it be my baby. So anyway, he comes up and he's like, Hinjo baby, we have to prep him now urgently. And then, when they say this, it's like the nurses they run up, they take the lights and everything, and then they start moving the incubator, and I'm like, whoa, where are we going? And she's like, no, just sit down, we'll come and get you once. I'm like, what? Come and get me? So you want me to leave my underage baby child with you and go wherever you are going, and then you'll come and get me later to go and see where you put him? I was like, no. Where are we going? No, we're going to ICU. And I was like, okay, let's go. I grabbed my stuff. I think that time I was just having like the baby wipes, and I was having the baby wipes and I think I was just having the baby wipes and the powder or the cream that we used to clean off the umbilical cord part, the navel of the baby. So I grabbed that into my bag and we start going. And I think that point she's looking at me like, when they look at you like you trying to be a know-it-all. But in my mind, I just don't trust you with my newborn child to go anywhere in this hospital without me there. I mean, I'm just a new mom. I'm bound to be protective. So we go and we get to ICU, and then we get to the 3rd room where they were keeping all the babies with jaundice. And guys, I don't know how I survived this with the most little trauma or post maternal but I was taken aback, and I was like shocked. I'm even getting emotional talking about it now, because I was just like, what? This is serious. I think that is when it hits me that I could lose my baby. But then I was like, let's not go there. Let's just see what this is happening. So we move over, and then we were 7. No, we were actually the 4th from the first baby. So we were 4th in the queue, and then they put all the lights on, and then they were like, get another light. I'm like, these are like now 5 lights. Actually 4 lights, I'm overacting. 4 lights. And then I was like, I had to stop and ask a doctor and be like, I mean, because these lights are hot, not warm, they are hot. hot, hot, hot. Like you can get sunburn from that situation. So I was like, I had to stop and ask a doctor, and I'm like, isn't this gonna damage my baby's skin? And he was like, it's not really damaging because we are controlling the temperature. We just need a temperature to get to a certain point for your system to um, recycle out the beryllium, what? How the hell do you pronounce this word? Let me get a pronunciation for this word because me, I can't with my African accent. Don't blame it on the African accent always, but yeah. So anyway, they had to get the temperature to a certain point so that his system can flush out this toxin that is making his body yellow or his organs yellow. So they were like, there are levels to this, and as soon as it gets to a certain level, your baby can suffer brain damage, and basically you have a potato or a vegetable. What they call it, a vegetable. When you suffer so much brain damage that you are alive, but your body's healthy, but you can't do anything. So I was like, shit. And I was like, is it something I ate? Because in my culture, that is called, what is it? It's, in my culture, apparently, when you eat too much oranges and too much those type of things, too much yellow stuff, the baby can come out yellow. But I was like, no, I didn't eat any of that. I actually hated oranges when I was pregnant. Yeah, so I spent the next 3 days, no, 2 days feeding. No, so that night we were moved to the ICU. We had to come in and feed the baby every 2 hours. Every 2 hours. So we'd go back, take a nap, eat, refresh. We get called in, and then you would breastfeed the baby, clean the baby, or they'll call you in when you needed to come and clean the baby if the baby had pooed or something. So I needed to constantly breastfeed my baby so that he can get full, and this could only come out through the poo, the waste, the this product, this bilirubin pro whatever, child, I can't pronounce that word, but I'll put it in. Maybe somebody can just show me how it's pronounced. But anyway, so yeah, we were called every 2 hours to come and feed the babies, and this is where the public hospital part gets you. If you spend more than a week, you have to be coming from home. So you have to pump your milk, leave it in the fridge for the nurses to feed the babies during the night, and then you would come during the morning to come and feed the baby and pump more milk for you to leave it there in the fridge. And I was like, oh my God, the financial distress and the stress of you being at home, sleeping, knowing that your baby is fighting for their life. I mean, how do you sleep at night? How do you expect someone to go home and sleep at night and come back to that? I was just like, what? Anywho, we spent the next 3 days in ICU, and then they were like, the second day they were like, no, his levels are not coming down. They're extremely high. We need to do a blood transfusion. So mind you, what the doctor explained to me was a blood transfusion was draining out completely his whole blood. And at the point where it's completely done, that's when they start to refill his body with new blood. And I was like, what the hell? Because I was so afraid of losing my baby, I just signed those documents without a word or say or questions of where's this blood coming from? Does the father have to donate blood? Where are we getting the blood? Is it from relatives? Is it from a blood bank? Or is like I just didn't do any of that. I was over it at that time and I was so stressed. And I just signed the papers. And then luckily for me and God praying, there was a doctor that came in. I think he wasn't from Namibia, or I think he was from South Africa, but it was just one of those doctors that like did yearly visits to just come and help out for free. And then this doctor took a look at my son's file and he was like, prescribe this, that, this on the hour, every hour. And we're all just like, me and the nurses and the doctor were like, the fuck are you talking about? Sorry for the language. And it's like, yeah, but then he prescribed something for him, and then they had to like put a drip on him. And then the next morning, day 3, when I came back in, the tray wasn't there. And I was like, where's the tray? What about the blood transfusion? And I was like, no, his bilirubin levels are coming down. His jaundice levels are coming down. I think I should just say jaundice. His jaundice levels are coming down and we're making progress. I was like, oh, thank God. And then I go back to my room, I prayed and I ate my food. And I was like, Jesus, give me more milk so I can feed this baby so we can get the hell up out of here. And then the nurse came and was like, you were discharged. What are you doing up? What are you doing all up in this room? And I was like, I'm discharged, but my baby isn't. So I'm not going anywhere. If you want to kick me out of this room, it's fine. I will ask my mom, my best friend, my boyfriend to bring me a mattress from home, but I'm going to be sleeping in these halls. You cannot remove me physically from this clinic without you giving me my healthy baby for us to go. And then she just looked at me and she was like, I'm not even gonna argue with this one. She's just gonna do whatever she wants. So she just looked at me and she's like, okay. And then she wrote my name back on the board so I can get food. I was like, yes, you're sent from heaven. I was like, thank you so much. Like I needed the food like late night because I would finish all my food as soon as my mom left. I was that hungry. I was really that hungry. Anyway, so yeah, day 4 comes around and no, actually on day 3 when they removed the tray, I was like, so I know you guys, I went to the doctor and I was like, I know I'm not a doctor. I know I'll never be a doctor and I'm not a nurse, but I need to understand what is going on with my child. Because I did everything in my power that I could to make sure this child is healthy and well nourished. I took all my medication, I took all my food types. I went on the diet if I was gaining too much weight. Not like a diet, but like who tell a pregnant lady to go on a diet. But I toned it down when I was gaining too much weight rapidly. And then he says, I don't know how to explain this to you. I'm like, if you have to make a drawing, please draw it. Because if you're going to explain to me visually, I think I'll understand it better. Just make the drawing and I'll take it from there. If I don't understand, I'll go look it up, I'll Google it and whatever. And then he says, okay, fine. And then he explained it to me so well. Like once I left that chair, I was like, oh, so it's not my fault. That's all I needed to hear. It's not my fault. I didn't cause this. I didn't make him sick. That's all I needed to hear. And then like till this day, I just get so like emotional when I think about it because I was like, oh my God, it's my fault. This is why my baby is sick. I maybe ate the wrong food. What? I was like, it's not my fault. I did all I could. And let's just let God, let's let God and trust God and pray. Fine. And then and then once I stood up, this other lady came and she was like, what are you guys talking about with the doctor? I was like, no, I just needed him to explain to me what is going on with this child, because I did everything that I could. And the most traumatic part for me was people were giving birth after me and coming to my room and leaving the next morning. And I was like, what did I do wrong when all those mothers did right? And then the next morning, when before we got the news that we were being discharged, me and my baby, she sat down with the doctor, and I was like, I'm grateful that I got to inspire somebody to just get educated. You don't need to be in class, you don't need to be sitting anywhere, you don't need to be you education can come in the form of just giving me an understanding explanation that I can process and say this is what's happening, because that removes a portion of the stress levels from you as a person once you understand what's happening with your child. So even if you have to sit or ask a doctor to sit with you for 30 or 10 minutes just for you to explain, or get a nurse to explain in whatever language that you understand what is happening, you will totally be transformed. Like, you will be transformed mentally. And mental health is important for new moms, because we just don't know what we're doing, and you think you might go crazy just because of that. Anyway, so on the 4th day, the doctor came in and he was like, hi, guess what, I'm discharging you guys, your levels are normal. I was like, yay, 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 yay. So we got discharged, and then so that was the Friday. No, that was the Thursday. And then he had said the next morning, we were discharged, we went home, I breastfed the baby, we were in hallelujah, we were home, we're in our space. I was like, we're healthy. But on his prescription, he was like, the next morning I need to go to Katutura Hospital just to go and have a final check and make sure that his levels did not go up while we're at home. So we went to Katutura Hospital and they took the blood tests, and something was fishy with the blood test, so we admitted again. Mind you, we're coming from Central Hospital. Now we have to be admitted in Katutura Hospital. My biggest problem, Katutura Hospital ward for babies, newborns, is a mess. The whole hospital is, they should just throw away the whole hospital. Honestly, they should just, I don't know, displace all those patients, bomb that thing, rebuild, and just like or section it off and revamp the one side, and then section the other side off and revamp it. I know it's going to cost a lot of money, but somebody's got to do it sometime, because that thing is just collapsing on its own. So we went into Katutura Hospital, and I was like, oh my God, again, what is it with you, my boy? So in Katutura Hospital, we went in the Friday. We went in the Friday, and then we stayed there. The Saturday, the doctor came, and then the Sunday we stayed in. And I was like, are we staying for something? This child is not even getting, like, he was just being, it's just blood being withdrawn. Where is this blood going? Why are the results not coming back? Like, tell me something. So we went, and then the Sunday they were like, oh no, nothing is wrong. I was like, so you kept us here? No, the Sunday they were like, no, nothing is wrong with the baby, he's actually fine. So I was like, you kept us here from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're telling me now nothing is wrong with the baby? I was so annoyed. But the doctor was so cute. She's really cute, like this little, like, beautiful colored lady with the beautiful hair, beautiful eyes, soft, well spoken heart, whatever. And then And I was like, so we're going home today, Sunday, right? And she's like, no, I can't discharge you today. I'll discharge you tomorrow. And I was like, why can't you just discharge? I was like, no, how are you guys going to get home? Or do you guys have transport? But it's still not safe. I'll just discharge you tomorrow. So I have to sleep on the floor, on the mattress, with my baby in Cathedral Hospital. I had to sleep on the floor. Everything of mine was on the floor. So we left. And then that's that. That's my story for the ICU. It's so like what I would advise when you're told your baby has to go to ICU. The first thing I want you to do is just sit down and clear your mind and pray and prepare yourself for the visual shock that you will see once you enter that space, because it is so, I can't explain it. It's just, damn, it's hard. It's hard to see little lives battling for survival. It's just hard to see somebody that cannot say I'm in pain battling for survival. You know what I mean? It's just difficult. I wasn't ready, and I don't think I was prepared, or I've never actually even been in ICU where they keep the babies, so I've never seen that. So when I walked in, I was like, I wish somebody had told me this is how it's going to look, because at that time you're thinking about you and your baby, and then when you look into the room and other people's babies, you're like, you stop praying for yourself, you stop praying for your child, you actually start praying for the people that are in worse situations than you. Like, have you ever, you start praying for somebody else next to you because you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, like you have to go through this. Like you just immediately forget your problems and your baby. Not like forget it, but you put yourself aside, and then you're like, I'm so sorry you're going through this, and I'm praying for you. And I was like literally praying for everybody else. I think that is what got me through that. I was like, and it's just emotional because people are crying all the time, we're sad all the time, and you're just like, why is this happening to me? But it's a question that I try to avoid asking, and I try to avoid crying. But yeah, you are going to pray for someone else more than you're going to pray for yourself, and you should be strong. You need a heart. You need to be strong. You need, as soon as they tell you that we are moving, hello, your baby to ICU, you need to be strong, guys. Mummies, yeah. You need to be strong, because I can just imagine the ICU at Cathedral Hospital. I'm grateful and I'm lucky that I was at Central, because the mental trauma, and then they don't even give you counseling. The shocking part, they don't counsel you. They just tell you this is that, and you have to battle with your emotions and your thoughts and everything running wild. They don't give you counseling. I was like, am I not supposed to be talking to some? Because usually what I was expecting is that there'll be a counselor walking around asking the moms how they're doing, but until you're prescribed to a counselor, you just don't talk to anybody. So I was making it a point to talk to my fellow moms that are in the same situation as me. What are we going through? Just like, just here and there conversations that are making you feel like I'm not in this alone, basically. So yeah, guys, be strong. And I just get emotional talking about this because I was like flooded with It's like it's yesterday. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. This is going up tomorrow. Bye.